Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I am your host, as always, Matt DeWolf, Editor-in-Chief of Car Wash Magazine. We've got a fantastic program for you coming up today. We've got Jamie Nestor from Flagstop Car Wash down in Virginia who's going to be joining us. Before we get into that, though, guess what? I got a few things I want to talk about. I always want to talk about a few things with you all, so let's get into it. So it's been a couple weeks since I've had the opportunity to talk about anything, any happenings with you all, and turns out some big ones have happened in that time. So obviously, what many of us are talking about right now is, as you can see the logo in that part of the screen, Mr. Car Wash is being publicly traded. Many of you probably got in. Many of you probably are checking your MCW stock as we speak. Big news. Why is it big news? Because this is the first real pure play car wash retail business to be publicly traded. And so what does that mean for you? It means probably a lot of pretty awesome opportunities, a lot of interesting eyeballs on the industry, and just a different level of really kind of watching and respect and consideration for those of us who are in the professional car wash community. So it's a good thing. We'll be watching that obviously very closely. Always fun to see what's happening as people are growing and building. So congratulations goes out to Mr. Car Wash on that success. Now, what else is happening in our universe? Lots of things like always. There's always lots of acquisition, lots of M&A, but there's also a lot of community activity. And so Clean, which is one of the Express Wash Concepts brands, they've got a promotion where they just raised more than $2,800 for a local community pantry. And you might remember, if you guys watch this program often enough, you might remember that Beth Martin, who is the marketing director for Express Wash Concepts, was very specific when she talks about what they like to collect, and it's dollars. So this is one of those examples, right? It's a food pantry, but they collected dollars because they could more easily collect, more easily store, and more easily contribute in a more meaningful way to their organization. So kudos to them for that. And then, what's our last one we got for you guys here? We've got Champion Express Car Wash. They announced a new leadership change there with, I am misplacing the name. Trey Merchant gets replaced by, let's find it here, Michael Murray. So Michael Murray is taking over as Chief Executive Officer. They've got big plans, guys. They are wanting to put out 70-plus car washes by 2023. And for those of you doing the math at home, if you factor in that lost year of 2020, that's pretty soon. That's in just a couple of years. So we'll be watching them as well, seeing how that growth goes. As always, we're watching how everybody's doing in this industry. So super, super excited to be part of it. We've also got some fun stuff. So look, I know that a lot of us have been talking about talent, right? And how do we find the right people? How do we hire people? How do we train our people? All these things in this talent management sort of path. And we've got two great podcast episodes for you that we've released in the last couple of weeks. One just this Wednesday, just yesterday, we released was the rebroadcast of our talent panel with George Hobson from Brown Bear, Alex Paisner from Scrub-A-Dub, and Chris Presswood from Mammoth Holdings, talking through their kind of approach and how they stand out. And then we also last week released a special conversation with Megan Ragsdale from Soapy Joe's, who gave us some insight into how can we make our companies attractive to the female population in terms of a talent pool. Because guess what? With everything COVID related, 25% of the female workforce disappeared because they obviously end up taking on more of that kind of home care, child care burden in those kinds of situations. It's just kind of how it rolls out right now. But guess what? Those 25%, many of them are looking to get back into work. And so check out that podcast, get a little insight into how you can kind of assess where you're at, make sure that you're really looking at that talent pool as a potential source of great people for you and your company. All right, what else do we have? Well, because we're talking talent management, I got to bring up LEAD. LEAD is the car wash training for car wash managers from ICA. We launched it earlier this year. You may be seeing some of the certifications and such start to appear on LinkedIn. So that's our whole badging system. Really fun stuff. Really kind of cool to see people getting honored with these certificates. So you'll see those. I'm not going to talk about the program any longer. I'm going to share with you all what people who have been through it and have been working with it are saying. So here you go.
Very well written, very easy to follow. very easy to navigate. It applies to full service, flex, anything. That is what really excited me.
The lead training program has really provided all of us with some tools on how to be that proactive manager. It gives us a lot less stress levels.
There's just nothing else out there that's as comprehensive as this. And this nails every aspect of the operation.
A lot of our employees are new, a lot of first-time employees, and it's really important, I think, to create that sort of career vision.
All right, so that is LEAD. Very exciting program for you. If you want more information, you know where to go. Carwash.org/lead. Anyone from ICA would be happy to speak with you about the program. Now, in case you missed it, you may have missed a couple in the last few weeks. We've done a couple of great things. We've got some talent management panels, some marketing panels. This week, if you did not catch our marketing panel, I'm going to give you a little clip of that right now.
Yeah, so for us, we have an app called Wash Club. So we were able to basically put our app out there about a week before we even opened or did the free car washes. So we had a lot of people signing up. We send them the information. They download the app. They can sign up on there. And we did 50% off of the membership, for the first month. So we pushed that. I think on the next one with the app, we have the availability and we can pre-sale up to 30 days. But we don't actually charge them till the day we open. So we can get people to sign up, get them in the queue. They don't actually get charged till the day we open. That way their memberships get started, but we're able to push that and get people to sign up off-site, which kind of alleviates a lot of the stress on the staff here. We have iPads, so we can run around the parking lot and everything and sign them up, but we can also hand them flyers. It has everything with our app on there. So they can check out the wash. If it's too busy, they can go home and they can sign up themselves. So it's very user-friendly. Well, then on the codes we use, we can capture that data. We can see how many customers we won, how many customers we lost on that first promotion. And then we also teamed up with our community partners and gave them their own code so they can promote it. And anybody that signed up under their code, we gave 10% back to those organizations. So they kind of helped drive the club because they got residual income off those signups.
You're making my... All right, that was Sam Sousa from All American Express Car Wash, just talking to you all a little bit about what he's doing with his grand openings, how he's collecting that data, and how he's offering and how he's kind of keeping people in that life cycle. So super cool stuff. If you want to catch the full episode of that program, you can do that at carwashmagazine.com, and you can also catch it on YouTube if you are so inclined to spend some time there. So, all right, we've got my favorite part of this program, probably yours, is... we got jokes coming up. If you guys have a joke that you want to send in, or you want your children to tell, or I guess my children to tell, because I've taken to having them tell all my jokes, you can do that at mdewolf@carwash.org. Here we go, friends. It is time for We Got Jokes.
What is a mouse's favorite game? Hide and
All right, there you go. You guys can use that one. As always, all these jokes are free for you to use at your next dinner party or, just at the site, whatever you want to do. Without further ado, we've got Jamie Nestor from Flagstop Car Wash coming up. But before we get to that, we want to see a quick sneak peek of one of their locations. Here you go, friends. It is tour time. All right, and now here we have him, Jamie Nestor from Flagstop. Jamie, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Matt. Good to see you.
Hey, so we got a quick look at one of your Flagstop locations. I know you guys have 11 in the Richmond area. You guys are really populating around that. Super cool stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. But before we get into all that, I think you have a fantastic story to share with folks in terms of kind of your path through the industry, how you got into the industry, and just where you've kind of gone through that time. Let's start at the beginning, Jamie, because I think this is a great story and people are going to get a kick out of it.
Okay, yeah, I've actually been in the car wash industry for 27 years now. Actually, I came in June of 1994, so it's almost exactly 27 years. It was right out of high school. Actually, the only job that I've ever really had other than working at Flagstop is at McDonald's when I was in high school. I was actually part of their management training program while I was in high school. And my ultimate goal was to finish high school, work full time as a manager at the McDonald's, and while I was in college at the same time, and just we had a little issue when my previous manager that I was supposed to replace, we had a little good going away party for her, and we were still at the site in the morning when the people came in to make the breakfast. So that did not look well, obviously, as from a mature and responsible upcoming manager. So I was passed over for that position. Of course, having a little bit of an ego and being young, I was just kind of like, oh, well, forget y'all, I'll quit. And so then I quit and got a job at the car wash, and pretty much been there ever since.
Jamie, it's okay. You were just being young. That happens to all of us, right?
yeah, I can see that.
And guess what? Now look where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Who would have, who knows where I'd be if I'd stayed at McDonald's? I'd probably still be a McDonald's manager. Or who knows? Maybe I could own a franchise now.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny.
But yeah, started at the car wash, quickly became a supervisor. Was making $5 plus tips when I became a supervisor, which I
rolling in it.
I thought that was amazing back then. Never left. At that point, when I started with Flagstop, Bob Schrum, who founded Flagstop in 1981, had 3 locations. One was a small flex serve with an attached self-serve base. That's the one I was working at. Then he had 2 other self-serve sites that were just standalone self-serves. And over the years, he had a desire to grow, and I had stayed with him. And so in 1998, we started planning this big site here where my office is, which is it was a full service wash with 3-bay quick lube, 2 bays of detailing, 6 self-serve bays, all in a large lot. Right after that, we went down and built another one in town. Similar concept, full serve, quick lube, detailing, self-serve bays. Ran those for a while. We actually bought a wash, flipped it. And then we decided to get into the express wash industry in I guess it was 2005 or 6 when we built 2006 when we built our first express wash. So we did that, obviously did really well with it, built another one. We acquired a wash, changed it to Flagstop, took one of the self-serves that we had, demoed it, and built an express on top of it. So over the years, we had grown to 8 locations. I had grown with Bob. At that point, I was, I think my official title was Vice President of Operations by then. And finally, in 2016, he had kind of always told us that when he was ready to retire, he was going to sell the company to whoever helped him make him successful, and had always told us that he'd sell the company to us one day. And we had colleagues, and I even have family and stuff be like, "Oh, don't believe that. He's not really going to sell to you." But in 2016, he was ready to retire, and he came to me and said, "Hey, we have 2 options here. We either could sell out and you could go to work for one of these bigger companies, or we could figure out a way for you and a couple of our other key guys, Craig, Derek, and Lauren, who are now their minority partners with me, they've stayed with me, and we figured out a way for us to take over. So we took it over. It was a better deal for Bob, for tax reasons. And since we took over, we officially took over in January of 2017. We have added 4 more locations, and we have broken ground on 2. And have another one in the pipeline that'll be breaking ground in the fall. So we'll hopefully be up to 14 locations by the end of the year.
Nice. You guys got, that's it. I love that path story, because I think it's really cool to know that you can start at the most base level in the industry, and you can work up. And if you're in with the right company and with the right people, you can go pretty darn far, and you can get a lot of really great learning along the way. You helped build a business along the way, and I think that part of that was attitude, right? I mean, it's easy to sit there and say, well, yeah, that's my job, whatever, I'm gonna do my job. But when you take an ownership mentality, I think that eventually that helps you become an owner, frankly. But let's back up. So you guys are in the Richmond area. You're very heavily populated in that kind of little circle there with your 11 locations now, and that's intentional, right? Like, you guys are big on staying right there local. Can you talk about kind of why you've made that decision? I mean, you guys call your wash club RVA, right? Which is like the kind of local term for the area. So talk about that community impact.
Yeah, we here in RVA, and we call it RVA because years ago Richmond did a branding thing where everybody's got these little stickers, and everybody just uses the term RVA now. You can't drive in Richmond and see 3 cars and one of them will have some type of RVA sticker on it. But yeah, over the years we've seen this doesn't really apply anymore, because a lot of the bigger groups are doing a much better job at it. But we had some folks come to Richmond that were absentee owners, and we ended up buying their stores because they couldn't run them so far away. And we've actually seen that over the years. It always has seemed that the further a location away is from its core main home office, if you will, the poorer the location is run. That's not really that applicable these days, because I think that a lot of the franchisee groups and the big M&A groups and private equity groups are doing a great job at branding and keeping the standards up. Certainly better than people used to in the industry. But for us, we want to stay local. It's really a quality of life decision for us. We've built out a maintenance team. We actually have Derek runs our maintenance team, and he's got 4 people under him now. We can get to any of our locations within 30 to 45 minutes if we have an issue or a problem. We feel that our marketing dollars go a lot further when we can just market to one local area instead of having 3 or 4 or 5 different cities to market to. My employees love the fact that they're home every night, unless we have some big maintenance issues or something going on that requires them to work overnight. They're all home in the evenings. There's no traveling, there's no real staying, 2 cities away and having to drive back. And it just, for us, it makes it more easy to manage and control. Bob used to be really very big in the community with different, organizations and groups and crime solvers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we've always had a lot of community support from us. We're the local hometown guys who have been here since 1981. Pretty much everybody in town knows who we are. And, we just feel that, we feel that there's enough opportunity to stay here and continue to grow. And, once we build out the market, and if the market gets too saturated, maybe we'll look at going elsewhere. But right now, we just don't see where we need to do that.
Yeah, well, there's some real benefit. Number one, right, just taking care of the community that's been taking care of you guys for so many years. I think that's super important. But I think also there's a pretty strategic play here in terms of instead of letting others come and saturate your market, why not you be the ones that make that happen, right? So saturate your market, get to where you're comfortable, and then expand from there. I mean, that's an approach for sure.
And with our wash clubs, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that makes our wash clubs even more valuable.
Yep.
because, why would you join, one of the new car washes coming to town? Why would you join their wash club when they got 1 or 2 locations spread out around town where, we're going to have 14.
Yeah.
And you can get to pretty much any of our locations from anywhere in town in less than 5 minutes.
Yep. Well, Jamie, you teed me up. I want to talk about wash clubs. So before we get into it, I know that your all's program, you guys take a little bit of a different approach. You keep it pretty simple, makes it easier for customers, easier for employees to talk about it. But before we go there, I want to show folks this animation video that you guys had done to kind of explain the program. So sit tight with me, and we're going to come right back to us in just a moment. Here we go. Everybody watching at home, here's a quick video that's kind of an explainer video for Flagstop's RVA Wash Club.
Okay, so ever wash your car only to have it rain the next day? Or jump in for a drive and realize it's not quite ready to hit the road? When you're on the go, you don't have time to waste, much less time to forecast the weather. With the most car wash locations in RVA, Flagstop is Richmond's home of unlimited washing. Wash Club members get unlimited car washes for one low monthly price. No contracts, no cancellation fees. Sign up for a membership online. Then stop by any of our locations to get a small decal for your car. Now you're ready to wash. Every week or every day. Don't let the forecast dictate what your car says about you. Whether it's piling in coworkers for lunch or cruising the scenic route on the weekends, keep it clean and looking good. Sign up online or in person today.
All right, so that video is super cool because guess what? The most frustrating thing for consumers is having too many choices, right? And with this wash club, you guys make it really simple, really straightforward. And I love how it's very clear what I need to do as we go through this video. So Jamie, talk to us a little bit about your all's approach to your wash club, because it's different.
Yeah, we've actually had wash clubs. We've been doing unlimited wash plans since 1994 when I started. When I started in 94, Bob used to do annual plans. Very few of them. I think we literally had like 12 at the time. But, as, technology changed and it got easier to do clubs, we always tried to stay on top of it. And we always saw where unlimited recurring revenue could eventually go. So over the years, we changed and we've pretty much tried everything. When we had full service stores, which we've now converted to Express, we actually had 3 club plans for our full service stores. We had 3 club plans for our express washes. Club members could still use any of them. So technically we were trying to manage 6 plans at a time. We also did family plans where you could get the second and third car for half off. So it actually ended up being a complete nightmare to try to run. Technology's gotten a lot better, so it wouldn't have been as hard if we had the same technology that there is today back then. But, as we eventually switched at our full serves, we only offered the 3 express plans, and then you had to pay to get the inside cleaned out. So that helped us out a lot with cleaning up some of that. And then as we've gone through some price changes and eventually knew that we were going to be going to an express only model and converting our full serves, we went down to 1 club plan. So our club plan's $21.99 and it's unlimited top $18 washes. So our top wash is $18. You get it unlimited for $21.99. So if you're buying our top wash, you might as well pay us a couple bucks more and go unlimited. We don't do family plans anymore because our price point is so low already.
Yep.
What we figured out was having 1 higher base plan and then given 2 at half off. We just went through and averaged what all those plans really came down to and what kind of average ticket for the club that we really wanted to achieve. And then just came out with that 1 plan, that 1 price plan. It's part of our marketing is that, we feel that our club members deserve the best. So they should always have the best wash. They always get the top wash. We always had some issues. People buy the cheapest wash club you got, and then they complain about everything that they don't get with that wash. Or they expect that they should have discounts on everything else because they're club members. So we just said, hey, let's just simplify this. So we've done extremely well since we've made these changes. It's so much easier for our employees to understand the club plans and understand how to sell them and talk to the customers. So much easier for the customers. They know that they're going to get everything. Now it's if you have a customer that doesn't want tire shine, they just say, hey, can you hit the button for no tire shine when you go through or something. So now, our club members get everything. It's a great price point. It just makes it so much easier to market, much easier transaction for the customer. They know what they're getting every time. It's made our world a whole lot easier.
Yeah, well, Jamie, there's this trap that we can sometimes get ourselves into, right? Where it's like, we want to be all things to all people, and we want to offer all these different choices and all these options and make it all complex. And almost every time you go down that route, you overcomplicate and turn things, like you were saying, into this like management nightmare. And then there's all these kind of trickle down effects that start to happen. One, if you've got too much going on, one, your customer's really confused. Two, from that employee perspective, when you have people who, you never really know your turnover rate, and you're training people on a pretty consistent basis, but would you rather train people on one kind of pitch that they need to know? Or do you want to say, okay, well, now if you're going to counter that one, if that customer doesn't want that, now you can offer them these 3 other options, and then maybe they'll do it. The customers they're gone. I mean, they're gone. The employees can't remember all that stuff, really, not for a few years. So not good. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to something else I wanted to talk about, because I know at the top of the program, I was talking about Mr. Car Wash, and obviously, congratulations to them for going public. That's one model of wash operation. You all are a little bit different in terms of wanting to really remain independent, but there are some benefits that these larger groups get from being so large. One of those is some buying power and some ability to kind of like have broader reach and broader perspective from being in multiple geographic regions. But you have a little bit of an option for that, right? Anybody who's really kind of wanting to stay independent and wanting to kind of get some of those benefits. Tell me about N1 Buying Group. I've been looking at this for a long time. I really am curious to know what that is all about.
Yeah, we've been part of the N1 Buying Group for, I think this is our third year. I think they've been around for 4 or 5. I'm not exactly sure. It actually took me a little while to buy into the process, because I didn't understand it. I didn't really know what a buying group was. I didn't know what the point was.
Yeah.
And then finally one day, I can't remember who I was talking to. I think it was someone from Autobell. And then it just clicked. I was like, oh, I get it now. So, we're a decent sized group. We have 11 stores that are branded Flagstop, soon to be more. So we're kind of that mid-level size range of car washes. So I don't have the buying power that, a Mister or somebody like that does, but, we got a little bit. So the whole point of the buying group is kind of like, hey, well, what if the Flagstops of the world join up with 10 other groups that are our size or even larger that want to remain independent? What if we could somehow pull our resources together and work with vendors and say, hey, what kind of deals and rebates and services can you provide for this group that now represents 100 to, I wish I had got the number before we started this, but, I'm sure the N1 Buying Group represents well over 100 plus car wash tunnels with all the different groups that are involved. So, it's a way for us to pull together, work with our vendors more closely to get a little bit more attention for some of these vendors, because we are a buying group member. It gets them a little bit more engaged with us instead of just everybody out there fighting. From a vendor standpoint, we are a little bit more loyal to the people who are part of the buying group. So when we're out researching a certain equipment or chemistry or something, our first route is to go, okay, well, let's see who's in our buying group first. And of course there's rebate programs that all the vendors work with. So that's a great part of it. That's the first thing that most people look at is like, how much money can I save if I do something like that? But for me, the real value is in basically having a seat at the table with those other groups like mine. So we talk about, we have little business strategy type session. talking about what everybody else is doing. The networking is good. There's actually a little bit more of a level of trust there. So, you go to a convention or an association meeting and you might know somebody who's owns a car wash, and y'all might share ideas and talk, but you might not share a whole lot. But when you're all members of the same buying group and you all have the same interest, you tend to share a little bit more. You get better feedback. Pretty much every group that is part of the buying group are car washes that I've wanted to emulate over the years, groups that I look up to. So I just feel lucky to even be part of the group, actually.
Hey, we've got a question from one of the vendors watching the program who they're curious, how do you get into the N1 buying group? What does that require? And maybe you can just touch on it from an operator perspective and a vendor perspective, how you guys kind of choose those.
I know from operator perspective, I think you have to have 5 locations or more. And obviously there's a fee to join.
Yep.
And that, you can look that up online. From a vendor perspective, there's actually a supplier committee.
Okay.
So someone would have to say, hey, we want to be part of this group. It would go to that committee. The committee would review it, and it would actually come up to a vote of whether or not, the vendor would bring any value to the group.
Cool. Cool.
So
Perfect.
It's kind of like a little selection process.
Yeah. So basically they need to get in touch with you, and then you guys will take the process from there.
Yeah.
Kate, I see you. Thanks for the question. Also, Kate, I am wearing some Stinger swag right now. You just can't hear. We'll give you a little here. There's a little Stinger swag. I had to, because if you guys have watched the program way back when we started this, some 65 weeks ago, I used to ask for swag pretty often because I'm kind of a swag guy. I like gear. I stopped asking because I felt bad for making people send me stuff, but I will wear it and I will show it off. So if you guys do want to send me swag, hit me up. I'll wear your swag. Jamie, I'm going to get some swag from you. Not going to lie. We'll do that offline.
All right.
Yep. Hey, all right. So before I let you get back to the business of washing cars, I've got one last thing I want to talk really quickly about, because this is a big thing coming up for you guys. You guys are going to go cashless.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It is something that we have been talking about. Anybody that's known me or ever talked to me, I've probably asked you before if you thought about going cashless or know anybody that's gone cashless. I know we've had this conversation internally for probably about 5 years, and we just haven't pulled the trigger on it. So from January through May, I didn't pull up the numbers, including June, now that June's over. For January through May, company-wide in our express tunnels, we are averaging 92% credit. On a site-by-site basis, our site that accepts the most cash is only 12% cash. And then we actually have 2 sites that are less than 5% cash already. So we've always had issues, when we were looking at our pay stations and our maintenance, and some of our biggest issues that our employees and our maintenance team have to deal with are on the pay stations, at least, are the bill acceptors and dispensers. It's always been, a nightmare. They get jammed up, or there's a communication problem with them, or, whatever the case may be. We have to send them off to get them repaired. It's, $800 to $1,000. If we had to buy a new one, it's a couple $1,000. Just to be able to accept cash that the majority of our customers are not using anyway. So we've looked at it from that standpoint, and from a safety standpoint, as far as the security of our sites, having to have safes on site, our employees having to handle money. So going cashless takes that out. You don't have to worry about anybody getting robbed because they don't have any cash to take from you. It helps with, we've actually in the past, as much as I hate to say it, we've had to fire people before because they took $20. So we don't really trust them in a position to handle money anymore. So we've lost really good employees just because they took $20.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what we could prove. Managers spend a lot of time we do our reports, they do their cash pools, do their deposits. Oh, they're $15 short. So now I got a manager spending 2 hours of his day trying to figure out where $15 is.
Right.
Or whatever the case may be. So yeah, with COVID, I wish we had done this when COVID started, because I did just talk to a large chain up in the Midwest that when COVID started, they stopped taking cash for COVID reasons. And he said it's been one of the greatest things they've ever done. And he's never going back to taking cash again. So after talking to him, and that was kind of like my final, I was like, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So we were actually supposed to launch that today, July 1st.
You got cold feet, Jamie.
Well, I didn't get cold feet. What happened was we're also getting rid of our basic wash.
Okay.
So we're starting with our deluxe wash, and all washes are going to be deluxe and above. We're not just going to have a simple, basic, cheap wash anymore. So when we run the reports and we look at it, the people who buy our cheapest wash are also the ones who are using the most cash.
Yep.
So we didn't want to punch them twice on the same day and say, oh, now you got to buy. You can't have the basic wash anymore. Oh, and by the way, I'm not taking your cash either. So we went ahead with the menu change today, but we did put up a big Windmaster at every site that says starting September 1st, we're going cashless, blah, 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 blah. So we're giving them basically 2 months notice. And we've had the signs up since Monday. I reached out to my management team before this and said, hey, what kind of feedback have we had? They said they'd had literally none.
Yeah.
So the managers who have gone out and talked to customers and said, hey, we're doing this, most of them have all said, oh, we expect it. It's kind of where the world's going. So we'll see. I got 2 months to, I figure also about delayed it. That gives me 2 months to get feedback to see if we really get any pushback.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to pull that trigger and say, oh, we're not going to do that. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think September 1st will be cashless. And when I see you in November at Vegas, I'll tell you whether it worked or not.
Yeah, we'll check in. We'll check in for sure. We'll want to know how that's going. Jamie, hey, it's been a real treat having you on the program today. I am going to let you get back to the business of washing cars. Thanks for sharing your story.
All right. Thank you. Good seeing you.
Hey, let's get this going real quick. Let's go right here. And guys and gals watching at home, if you want to see more great stories like Jamie's and pick up some inspiration and ideas for your business, you can do that at carwashmagazine.com, youtube.com, facebook.com. You get the gist here. Anywhere that you are, we want to be sharing this content for you. So until next time, my friends, there is just one thing that you need to do out there this weekend when you're killing it washing cars, and that is keep it clean.
I'm just having a good day, having a good day.